All right, good morning, good evening, good night. Welcome into NFT Live on the Web3 Network. We appreciate you starting your week with us here live. This is an NPR podcast. What's going on, everybody? We are starting. I got Ronin the Collector. I got Gift Dead here in the house today. We're going to have ourselves a great time covering a lot of different topics. Ape Staking is going live. We also have some celebrities getting sued here in the NFT space, and what that kind of a recap on how that all happened with, I believe, MoonPay and the Bored Ape Yacht Club and all that stuff. But a lot to cover. Illuvium Beta is going live as well, so we'll hit on some of that. But Ronin, we're going to start with you here. What's going on, man? Welcome in on a Monday episode of NFT Live here.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it, dude. Not much. It was a pretty good weekend. Nice little intro. You said NPR. I was thinking ASMR. You got real sultry there for a moment.
I did.
Yeah, dude. A lot of stuff going on. Like ape staking, obviously, is what everybody's talking about. Also, for anybody who's holding a clone or is interested in shoes, the CryptoKicks forging went live like a little over an hour ago. So you can go forge your CryptoKicks, get yourself a pair of futuristic sneakers. Outside of that, man, I'm not really sure what else is going on. I don't know. I kind of disconnect on the weekend. So like, I don't know if like there's too much in the space happening. Maybe GIF can fill us
in. Well, Cause is the only other really interesting headline to me. I mean, look, Ledger Connect. Okay, that's cool. Immutable X is actually partnering with MoonPay, which is ironic since we've been talking about the lawsuit. But no, I think Cause is cool. I mean, Cause is one of the biggest artists in the world. Apparently, he's known as the most visible artist in the world. I didn't know that. I just learned that this morning. But yeah, Cause has his first digital collectible NFT dropping, it looks like Wednesday on the 14th. Save the date, December 14th and December 5th and 5th. Oh, yeah, it goes late. So it's actually, so apparently it's 10 p.m. EST on the 14th or 11 a.m. on the 15th in Hong Kong. So if you're in Hong Kong, it's actually Thursday morning.
We're going by Hong Kong time these days?
Yeah, apparently.
Love it.
Shout out Sarah Script in the chat.
One day a co-panel on NFT Live here.
I think we've all sent the invite at least once.
Look at that Atlanta United. Dude, you are Atlana'd out today. This dude has a Georgia hoodie and an Atlanta United hat. You are just full on, what is it, 404?
Man, it just happened. 404.
I know.
Dude, my first phone number was 404. That blew me back.
We're mutanted out because I guess, I don't have my mutant anymore. Stuff, huh? RIP, but Q's getting that primo APY on those mutants.
SBF testifying tomorrow. This is breaking news to me. All right, well, guys, we're going to get started here on NFT Live covering SBF here in just a moment. Very, very briefly, I know you've heard enough about SBF over the past month and a half that you just want to throw up every time we say his name. So we'll just talk about one brief Twitter space that he had this morning. Otherwise, we're going to hit the quick news. We're going to get into ape staking that is happening right now and what that means kind of for the broader space. If you can, if you may, if you can think about maybe actioning down there below Ronin into the like button, that would really help the episode get out. It does help us proliferate our thoughts into the netherverse, as I've come to coin it. I don't know where I am today, dude. It's a Monday.
Bro, you've been drinking too much soy milk, bro. That was the weakest CTA I've ever heard in my life.
That's why I lean on you guys.
Y'all smash the like, and if you've been watching any of our content and you have not subscribed yet, you're a rug. I hate to break it to you, you're a rug. Bottom line, if you haven't subscribed at this point and you've been enjoying the content, that says enough about who you are. And yeah, anyway, no, we do appreciate when you smash the like. It really does help, to Q's point. That's, I went, you were playing good cop, I was playing bad cop. I just wanted to swing it. Give them both looks,
I got you. Silver Phoenix is in the house saying private beta for Illuvium is in 1 hour. I'm all ready to go. Prodigy's in the house saying OVOT. Shout out to Prodigy, who joins us from his work break every single day. So I want to give him a quick shout out. Hash Rhymes. Llama is in the house saying Ape SMR, which I think is a solid pun. That's a solid pun, Llama. I like it. Good to see you here live, Llama. Usually you're catching the recording, so it's nice to see your pretty llama face. All right, quick news. Really, like I said, I don't want this to be long or go longer than it needs to. SBF was in a Twitter Spaces this morning with CoinDesk, and apparently, and again, I wasn't there because I'm pretty much over the media tour that SBF is on somehow, and not in jail or not being indicted or anything like that. Apparently, he's going to Capitol Hill, but apparently he joined a space this morning, was giving the litany of excuses, which he's done over and over. And then somebody in the audience that was a speaker was like, "Hey, SBF, I hear in the background like there's video games being played. Are you playing video games?" And he was like, "Hold on, no, I can't answer that right now." And then literally 5 seconds later was like, "I'm playing video games," while he's being interviewed about laundering billions of dollars of users' funds and completely destroying a sector. That's what he's thinking. Any thoughts here on SBF playing video games?
Look, he's probably not going to be able to bring his gaming PC to jail with him, so he's trying to get in as many games as he can. And you know what?
Ass.
Do we know what game he was playing?
It's League of Legends. It has to be League. It has to be League. And he was a poor League player.
Or was he like, halfway through like God of War and was like, "Bro, I got to finish this Ragnarok before fucking I get locked up."
See, here's the thing. League, you can't play while like talking to somebody. Like you have to be, unless you're
not
just
well,
really, you care.
Not well.
Yeah, unless you don't care.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, look, that's what professional streamers do, though. He's basically just being a streamer, because that's literally what pro gaming streamers do, is they're talking and holding conversations while playing at an elite level, which is why it's not easy to be one of the top streamers and also be playing at a high level. It's very hard to do. Yeah,
Ronin saw me playing at a very high level on League of Legends while streaming on Twitch, so I appreciate that. Yeah, it's fun watching good play. It really is. Just professionals at work. Speaking of professionals, Jeffrey the Giraffe, I almost called him Joffrey. The floor is holding, ladies and gentlemen. It looks like mint reveal has not happened yet on Toys R Us NFTs. Floor is holding. They went for $100. I don't think they sold out, but the floor is holding here on Jeffrey the Giraffe.
Toys R Us doing
better than Cock Punch. I think our Cock Punch bags are hurting.
Cock Punch sold out and then pumped. We just bought at the top.
Yeah,
of the pump.
Yeah, you're right.
Like, I don't know what you're talking about. This isn't better than Cock Punch.
This is just my personal experience.
It just feels better for us because we're not losing anything on it right now.
It's fair. Asmodai is saying, "Go ahead, Ronan."
Was that ETH?
Solana.
No, Solana. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's on Magic Eden.
7.6 Solana. It sits around $100, I think.
And it cost about $100.
Yeah, $100 mint price. So
it's funny, okay. Interesting.
It's gonna do terribly. Let's be honest. It's 10,000 of these guys. It's Toys R Us. There is no announced yacht party.
How are you feeling about that yacht party, Q? I called it. I said there's not gonna be a Toys R Us Jeffrey Giraffe yacht party. I think you were the one saying, "I'll see you from the yacht." I'm pretty sure,
and I still believe that.
Hey, play the tape back. I'm pretty sure Q was calling that there will be a yacht party and that he would be on it.
Why are we saying that there's not going to be a yacht party? It's only been a week.
Do we know who they worked with? I'm interested in
Magic Eden.
Whoever worked with Yuga Labs.
I'm just interested, who advised them to go at 10,000 in this market?
I was.
If you're charging fucking $5,
Those guys, whoever advised Toys R Us to go with Solana too, are shaking in their boots. Imagine them having to go to Toys R Us being like, "Listen, this guy SBF kind of ruined the entire ecosystem," after they already kind of took a leap of faith here. So hopefully Jeffrey is good. All things considered, hopefully Jeffrey the Giraffe NFTs. I'm still banking on there being a yacht party. It was on the picture. It was on the picture GIF.
I feel like you're really kicking a dead giraffe while they're already down. You know what I mean?
Damn.
And
whoa, ouch. All right. Speaking of that,
well, no, honestly, though, real quick, wouldn't it be ironic if like Toys R Us which was already basically dead, and then tried to come back to life, and then this was the thing that really just put a nail in the coffin? was
NFTs.
An NFT.
That would be great. That's what finally killed Toys R Us.
Yeah, Jeffrey, R.I.P. Jeffrey. Yeah.
I want to take Gift Ed's pun, and I want to go with a better pun here. What happens to your NFTs when you hit the floor? And this question was brought up on GM Web3 this morning by Marty McFly, who's saying that he doesn't have anyone in his immediate nuclear family who he can trust if he somehow passed away instantly, got hit by a car, just randomly died by a grizzly attack. He doesn't know who would then like find the NFTs, not sell his Bored Ape for a 1 ETH floor, accepting a bid on OpenSea. All of these different things that go into what quote unquote would be called, I guess, estate planning. But what happens essentially to your NFTs right now, GIF and Ronin, if you were to like just suddenly pass away on stream? Do you have something set up to where they'll be able to access the NFTs and the crypto?
Yes and no. My family has copies of my seed phrases, but they have no idea what to do with them.
Okay.
So it's
yeah.
Basically my confidence is very low that like if I passed away, it would be good. It would be very bad right now.
No. Yeah. So my wife, she's got like the seed phrases, right?
That's trust.
Well, and then I actually have like a buddy who's like kind of like the one who's in charge. Like if I was like kick the curb, like he's the one that she's got to call, and he'll walk her through like, okay, this is where we plug in like these numbers. This is what needs to happen. Oh, this is his like ape. This is what needs to happen with that. Like, and then to help her through that process.
Okay, so we do have a definitive answer there from Ronan that he has a
I got
friend,
kids.
a confidant.
I gotta make sure I've thought about that shit.
Yeah, well, it's a morbid thing to talk about, right? Like we don't talk about that in the NFT space.
It's
because
really important.
But
it's really important. Well, because you know what's interesting about it too is how many NFTs from limited supply collections are going to be basically lost and burned this way also,
staked.
Right? Because you think about
staked.
well, you think about Bitcoin, which famously, you know, there's only like 21 mil that is ever going to be mined. It's a limited supply, which is why it's ultrasound. And then people already estimate that there's at least like 3 to 4 million of the Bitcoin that are essentially lost forever. I think it's probably even higher than that, frankly, as far as like what's actually going to be able to be accessed versus what's locked up somewhere that nobody can get to. So when you start to understand like, wait, so there's only 15, 16, maybe 17 million Bitcoin that will ever exist, and that's going to progressively drop as more people lose their seed phrases, as more people fuck up and send it to a burn address. It's actually deflationary just on a human error level. So then apply this logic to NFTs. As people pass away, lose their seed phrases, other shit happens, make mistakes, apes and whatever doodles and dead fellas or whatever these valuable NFTs are, they're actually going to be slowly disappearing or being burned or just being taken out of the supply, right? I don't know. It's an interesting thought experiment.
Sarah Script is saying, what about NFTs that are donated to museums like art and artifacts IRL? That's a fair point too. Is like that.
It's kind of like staking. That's like staking it. It's taking it out of the circulation, at least for a while.
Prodigy saying hard to know if they will know what to do. I do want to open that up to the chat, so I appreciate Prodigy being open with that as well. I want to like be on record here and say that directly after this, although I'm going to keep it on record on YouTube as well. Mike Fitch is going to be my confidant to make sure, Mike, if you're reading this and I'm gone, help me help my immediate family and everybody that needs to be taken care of. I want to make sure I get that out, but I will be discussing this. It's something I haven't set up yet.
I think a proper security expert would tell you that you probably wouldn't have told everybody who your backup dude was. Just
That's
saying.
true. I just put him in danger.
Well, this is also, our important first announcement for Dip and Chail's estate planning service, NFT and Web3 estate planning. We are launching our service for just a 10% fee, which is, go check the market. That is much cheaper than most estate planning out there. But for just a 10% fee, Nifty Q and myself will guarantee that when you pass away or some unfortunate event occurs and you are unable to basically service your own contracts, your own wallets, that we will be there as the helping hand and that bridge for your loved ones.
It's also important to point out that this is an extension of our current business with Dip and Chails, which is a male strip club. So they work well together. I think this is on brand for us to move into this next piece.
Well, the first place that your wife is going to want to go when you pass away.
All right. We are moving on. Thank you, guys. Leave a comment though. I will come back to this. Hopefully, that we see some comments here. Digit saying in before this.
I'm just proud. I'm just proud that we haven't said the words banana hammock until this point.
You brought it up. In before this is the last we see of these guys with this public. We are here. Yeah, we're done. We're done for. Here we're doxing ourselves completely. All right. I
will say though that if me and my wife both kicked it at the same time, then I'm probably in trouble. So I should probably think about that, right? There's layers to that.
Yeah. We're doing this live on stream.
Shit, dude. I should probably
that
hole up. I should plug that one.
Yeah, you should account for the Batman scenario for sure.
Yeah, dude. You never know. Fuck.
All right. Well, we're gonna shut down the show now. We've got things to be doing. Actually, no. we're
calls to make.
Any last quick news that you guys want me to pick up? Links you can drop in the private chat. I can pull it up. Otherwise, we will get to the biggest piece of the news, which is Ape Staking. But first, we do have one.
I do have one quick one, which is the announcement of Take the Throne, the ultimate giftathon. So I'm gonna drop this quote, this link to you right now, Q, so we can pull it up. So this is going to be the biggest holiday party on Twitter Spaces, straight up. We are co-presenting this Nifty Castle in partnership with Nifty Kit, and this is going to be lit. They're going all in. We're going to be putting together a game show, the Take the Throne game show, a bunch of prize packages, and a bunch of opportunities, even just for the participants, the audience, to get involved and win some dope stuff. So do not miss out on the biggest holiday party on Twitter Spaces. Take the Throne, the ultimate giftathon. There it is.
Love it. I dropped a link in chat. Definitely go there. The last Take the Throne was a success, of course. But what was the event about? You were basically pitching ideas.
It's so we had an amazing panel of artists, producers, some of the biggest names in the game, people like Gabe Weiss, Jessica Yatrowski, people like that. I think there's 8 amazing co-hosts and contributors, but they're basically the panel, and so people get to come up one at a time and pitch them. They get basically a couple minutes to pitch a concept for an NFT or Web3 project, and then the panel in real time delivers a verdict. It's interactive too, so the audience gets to help vote. But there's also going to be, this time we're adding more elements and more giveaways and basically games for the audience as well. But the main show is basically like a Shark Tank style NFT pitchathon to an awesome panel. So we haven't announced who's going to be on this judging panel yet, or some of the specifics, but Sarah Script is teasing that there may be an emotional support mice NFT given away, which, you know what, that would be fucking lit. So there you go.
Do you know a guy who hangs out with you every day on these streams that it's not really doing much, that could potentially be on that panel? I don't know who.
Thank you for bringing that up. Yo, I would love to have Ronin on that judging panel. Honestly, that would be amazing. Are you kidding?
Ronin, do you accept on stream? We're putting you on the spot. Oh, he's muted. He can't do it.
I said, when is it? Yeah.
You're muted. What's happening? Are we all muting each other?
It's gonna be December 21st on Twitter. Yes. I was muted. You know what? Because you know what? Ronan and I are both polite, and we mute ourselves when we're not talking. That's what that's.
It's understandable. Well, that's why I can't be on the panel.
Coughing and shit.
It's fair. All things considered, that's fair. All right, we are going to ApeCoin staking now. Again, leave it a like if you are here for the first time. We are doing NFT live here, live on the network, Monday through Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard. We go for about an hour and a half, give or take. It's going to be a short episode, as we always say.
It's going to be short. It's going to be short, Jacob.
Hey, really quick, guys. Do you notice a difference in the video quality this week? Is it
Bro,
better?
you look great right now.
All right, it got
better than you've ever looked. The colors are more vibrant. Like, you look better than you've looked in a long time.
The internet connection issues with the wiring in my house came to a head last week. I know I was just getting absolutely flamed in the chat, and then Jacob had the balls to put those shitty potato clips onto YouTube Shorts, which I then got flamed for more. They were like, yo, we had better video on the moon landing, and I was getting absolutely just wrecked. So I had to call Verizon and fix that shit. So I got that for you guys. Thank you. Prodigy saying if Q on the panel, it's going to go downhill fast. You guys are just so fucking supportive today. It just blows my mind. All right, Ape Staking went live today. What does that mean? It means there is a supply of ape that will be distributed to people who locked up their ApeCoin via either holding NFTs or got into the ape pool, which we thought that the ape pool might have really low percentages because it was open to anybody that had ApeCoin, as well as having no limit. But even the ApeCoin pool itself is sitting at like 175 to 200%.
This is what I'm hoping. Well, this is what I'm hoping is one of the buying pressures that helps reduce all that selling pressure that's incoming, is that people start to see this APY, start to see people talking about like, yo, I'm getting paid out. They see how much money people are making daily from this, and they start buying up ape to go fill out this ape only pool because it's unlimited. Right. So it's like, to me, one of the best moves right now, because you get paid the most in the first 6 months and it's just launching. To me, that's one of the biggest fucking 200 IQ moves is if you've got a bunch of like useless crypto that's not doing shit for you right now, fucking go put it in the ape pool, because for the next 3 to 6 months, like, at least it's doing something for you.
Yeah, I'm going to show off the ApeCoin and the rest of the pool percentages now. So this is via Dune Analytics, which takes like up to the second data points and then displays them. So 197% for ape only.
Yeah, it's like a 200 APY right now, just on the ApeCoin pool. No NFTs needed. 300%
for BAYC. MAYC is, I believe, the highest at 328. And then the Kennel Club pool at 300. There's a lot of ways that people smarter than myself can actually like game these scenarios. I was talking to you last night, Ronin, about shorting ape while being able to be staked and earning that APR. I'm surprised that ApeCoin APR is staying where it is. I think that that's going to go down relatively quickly, just because essentially people could short the token, buy it like $1 million. If you have, let's say, hypothetically, someone is has a ton of cash, right? Like, these guys are going to be working with some dollars. If you have 100,000 or 500,000, whatever, as long as you have enough to then short the coin on the other end, you're essentially risk-free, right? Because the risk of not shorting it is you're buying ape, you're staking it, of course, and getting some, but then if ape goes down, you're fucked. But if you short it, and I'm not going to get into the details of that, you can essentially reduce that risk to zero. I'm surprised more people aren't taking advantage of that. Because I understand the idea of like, oh, they don't have an MAYC or they don't have a Bored Ape or anything like that. The ApeCoin should be completely gamed is kind of what I'm kind of getting to here, summarizing. Yeah, it's called a hedge.
Yeah, and this is where like advanced traders make out, or they do better than everybody else, right? Which is like, I've never been advanced. Like, I was barely learning about options and getting into it when I was like, really into stocks before I got all into crypto and NFTs. So like, I never got to that level where I was shorting as a hedge on top of other big, crazy bets that I was making. Mm-hmm. It gets pretty complicated, but like, if you're an advanced trader and you got it like that, then there's probably a lot of opportunity. I just, obviously, again, none of this is financial advice, but
Yeah.
I don't know. At that point, we're kind of in beyond my level of expertise because
So if you have individuals, Quantum Variant saying, where can you short crypto on a majority of the exchanges? I don't know if Coinbase Pro offers this service, but I know Binance does. So if you had somebody that, traded on Binance, you would essentially go to them. And if you opened up a $10,000 USD position on Ape, meaning you bought Ape, then you could buy $10,000 worth of a short, essentially. So you would short it $10,000, and then you would essentially be neutral, but you're earning the APY by staking. So I got deep into the weeds there, and I didn't really want to spend that much time there. We got a Horizon Labs update right about an hour ago at this point. So when the Ape Staking rewards went live, we got this from Horizon Labs. Ape Staking update: rewards for staked Ape are now live and accruing. Shout out to the Ape community for your patience through the apestake.io project. We hope your staking journey is a rewarding one. That's a good question. I think, a majority of the people staking there are actually physically being rewarded, but is it overall going to be successful is kind of the question that's up in the air for everybody. But we took that first step today, and we'll see where it goes.
Can we pull up the distribution curve or whatever? Because I thought this was interesting. I hadn't paid much attention to this until I was going through my own staking process. But basically, there's a 3-year program, whatever, and it kind of resets each year. And actually, it resets higher in year 3, which I think is interesting. So they're trying to incentivize people to stick around through the entire journey, right? So this is like the journey in terms of a distribution curve. So you can see, Q, you're the one that pointed out basically the first 6 months, right? So these 2 first 90-day periods are by far the most rewarding to be in on right now. And, this again follows most Web3 DeFi, ethoses, the principle of, early movers tend to get outsized returns and benefit the most. But so yeah, this is just kicking off today with that 35% for 91 days. And then the next is it drops from 35% to 30%,
yep,
and down from there. And then it resets, you can see in year 2, and then resets again in year 3. So I think this is really fascinating and interesting. And basically, to your point, the APY shifts because it's tied to these total staking pool allocations over on the right.
Exactly. And then if you look also on the left side, you see year 1, there's going to be 100 million tokens, year 2, 50, and year 3, 25 million. So in this first year alone, in a majority in that first 6 months is when we're seeing the most rewards. That's essentially what's going to happen. So here in the next 6 months, people are predicting a lot of different things, and I want to get your take. I want to get the chat's take on where this goes. I think there will be people that will restake their ape, which again isn't going to be like this. I'm not predicting like this ridiculously massive dump, but again, unless they come out here in the next 2 weeks, which we're predicting on the other side, because they said the story of Jimmy is coming out on Christmas Eve, I believe. There's some that was from Yuga. I think that was from Bored Ape. It wasn't from the other side. And then other side has been kind of telling us that there's going to be some type of release in this month as well. A lot of stuff has been happening with the 10KTF shop on their website, and it's like showing images. I could pull them up here in a second, but showing images where more and more you can see it's going to be tied into the other side. They also put in their bio on 10KTF that it's a Yuga project. We heard about that acquisition. So it's a tough conversation. We'll continue to kind of work our way through it, but I want to get your take, Ronin, in general. It's like, what are your thoughts on staking launches? Staking having launched here for ApeCoin.
So like for me, this is like the first time I'm actually partaking in anything like this, where it's like, oh, like I got a little bit of these tokens and I'm holding them, and now like staking is going live and I'm getting in like literally from the first moment. So this is all learning for me, honestly. And I think that like if I would imagine there's probably like a lot of people who are in that same kind of boat who, got into the Bored Apes. They, have been holding, they got their ApeCoin, they've been holding. They're like, I know staking's coming. Did a whole lot of research over the weekend. I had 2 people hit me up just this morning. We're like, hey, what'd you do with your ape stuff? And I told them, I pretty much did what Q did for me last night and said, this is what I did. Super easy. Walk through the steps. And yeah, so for me, it's like I'm learning and then I'm passing on that knowledge. And then, I think this is just like another like opportunity to educate yourself and ask like the people who know more than you, right? And take advantage of it. And so for me, yeah, I threw a bunch of ape in there and I kept a little bit just to see like what happens, right? Like I think for me, it's going to be really interesting to see what happens over like, okay, rewards are starting to accrue, but there's this 24-hour period where you actually can't touch it before it unlocks. So what happens at noon tomorrow, right? Like I personally think there's probably going to be a dump, right? Like the market is down. So I put a little to the side that I'll probably try to take advantage and see if I can take, a little of the top. I don't know. Like everybody's going to have their own strategy. And like, to your point, Q, you're like, well, I'm not going to, like, I don't really know what I'm doing, but I can tell you like, here's all the things you could do. And I think that by the time we finished the conversation, I kind of said, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I got it in my head. I know how I'm going to attack it. I know where I'm going to be, during these specific milestones along this journey. And so, yeah, for me, I'm really taking advantage of learning as much as I can.
I love it. Love it. I'm going to bring up the ApeCoin chart here. And this is what Space Smells Like is asking, can we still stake or is it closed? It's completely open and it will continue to be open in that 3-year period, unless something comes up that we don't know about. But yeah, it's going to be open continuously. And like we said, in the first 6 months, that's when the majority of the rewards. All right, so this indicator that you see here on the screen, that was in August. So August timeframe, we saw like, obviously the token was going down. I think this was like SBF situation, like FTX. So we were dealing with like severe black swan events.
I think that's where your cursor just was. That's the big one. Yeah, right there.
That's SBF.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. So we have this, and it's been slowly going up here as staking was set to go live. The question is now again, where are we headed from this moment? Staking going live. A couple different fundamental pieces I want to bring in here too is like, I viewed it from a standpoint of like a stimulus check for the space. I'm just kind of going there with that thesis. There are going to be apes now that have a little bit of extra cash to go into other projects. I am literally going to do that. And that's just, again, from my personal perspective, it's like, yes, you put some away, as Ronin was talking about. Yes, you restake some of it, but some of it can also be used now to, kind of get some more liquidity into this space and maybe pump some other projects.
So it's a good point. And my question to you, Q, is besides Cock Punch, which projects are you buying?
I've been shilled Renga, I've been shilled Valhalla here in like the last, and I say shill in like the best way possible. It's basically when my buddy tells me something about an NFT project, I use shill. But I've been told about as well Valhalla and Renga, which I feel like are probably some projects, other blue chip projects that are just absolutely in the tanker right now still, because the NFT space still is
like what? Like what? I want to know. The people
like I would
want to know. Q.
If I had like a larger bag, that I'd be considering like the dogs, right? Like for the apes. Like if you don't have exposure to Yuga, like that is, I think, probably the best place to like jump in outside of ApeCoin itself, because of the fact that we know for a fact the next thing coming is like, well, one of the next things coming is mecha dogs, right? Like, and if you're going to get a mecha dog, they got to come from someplace. And I would imagine the same way they did the mutants, they're going to have to do the dogs, right? So I would imagine that we get some type of similar type of gamification of the experience. Maybe they switch it up a little bit, but I do think like if you're not holding a dog, you're not going to be able to partake. And I'm not currently. So I'll be watching and checking it out. I might look to like, I don't know, like there's other assets that are moving and stuff too. Like I do think that Renga's had a really good like just staying power, right? Like a lot of people were like, oh, you kind of pumped hard for like a month and then kind of like pittered out like everything, right? But like the last 2 weekends, it's had a little jump. I think it's gone 0.3 in the last like 10 days increase. So if you're looking at something somewhere, that's another option. And Valhalla looks cool, man. I just don't know much about it, but I definitely want to check that one out too.
I'm looking at the NFT price floors as well. I probably, honestly, on this list, when I'm talking about like value to where the floor is at right now, maybe a Moonbird. Like, it seems to be like a blue chip project in this space that I would likely get into. Art Blocks was dropped in the chat. I think that's a great opportunity as well. Meebits has other side implications too, right? Like they're going to be in that game. Yeah, I'm looking at the list here, but yeah, Moonbird would probably be my number one.
I think Moonbird, for me, both Moonbirds and CloneX are interesting because I don't have either of those. I would also love to get more art blocks because I agree. I think that art blocks are going to do, like, some of the best art blocks collections are going to do well. The other ones that I still love to this day that I would be buying more of if I could right now are Deadfellas and Cool Cats. I feel like both of those projects are really solid. Keep building. And like Cool Cats is, I feel like, dropped so far from where it could be, and yet it's still like such a beloved NFT IP brand. And Deadfellas just keeps killing it. Like, Betty is one of the leaders on Deadfellas and has become like one of the most important voices in the entire space just in a matter of months. And you can't underestimate what the power of having like really strong leadership on these projects can do, because she seems fully dedicated. Like, she's uprooting her life, her family, to move, I think, out to the West Coast to keep building. They've been doing some of the dopest events, big partnerships. So I don't know, man. I've already got a few Deadfellas that I'm holding, and I feel like they're really priced really low right now.
I could get into Deadfellas. Here's my thing is like the space, and Jessica Ostrowski talked about this as well. Like the space is too large at this point to really stay on top of it as a single individual. So if someone comes to me and says, hey, this is what I've, seen in amassing the experience and the knowledge that I have and going forward, I think Deadfellas is a good play. I'm doing it, because I believe in what the experience that you have. So I could potentially get into Deadfellas. I think I'd sweep the floor on Cock Punch. I'm not being honest at all. I'm not going to do that GIF. So just be careful. But I think we kind of talked about the ones I would get into. Moonbird would be the first one. I could definitely buy Deadfellas. Cool Cat sitting at 2.
Wait, you would or you would not sweep the floor on Cock Punch?
I would not.
You would not?
I would not. But before those projects, I mean, yeah, at some point I'd make. At some point I'd get in. I'm in on Cock Punch. All right, I said that out loud. That's something I said.
For shits and giggles, for the fun of the show, like while it was minting, while we were live, I went ahead and I aped in because I was like, you know what, fuck it, it'll be fun just to do it. Because we're live, and I knew it was the wrong decision financially, and absolutely so far I bought at the top. And just like, now you're flooding it further, bro. You're flooding my bag, my Cock Punch bag, my single lonely sack of Cock Punch.
It's unfortunate. What we do for content, right? Sarah Script is saying facts GIF. If I could get back into Cool Cats, I would. Quantum Variant says about 500 fully staked, 500 USD per day on a BAYC. Marty McFly saying 500 a day if you have one BAYC staked. Wow, way more than I expected. We'll see over the next month. It looks that's
not
for
fully
an MAYC
staked.
too.
I'm somewhere between 250 to 300 a day right now, but I've been watching that Dune analytics dashboard as the APY just slowly ticks down. Every percentage point, I'm like, oh.
I was surprised. I mean, everybody has their own kind of, again, experience and own risk level factors and things like this they have to account for. I was surprised how many apes I saw on Twitter that were like, I'm not staking. So that's where we're sitting at like 15%. I don't even know if that's the right. How
many of them?
It's like 10 to 15% total ape in supplies staked right now.
Oh, shit.
That's why the APYs are so high. Because they were like, oh, yeah, we're going to put out this ape staking. Like the APYs will be, around, probably people were guessing, and then like 10% is like staked. Wow. I got to find that dashboard. I can pull that up really quick. If you guys can have some filler here with some excellent content as you guys do, I can look at that and see how much total is staked.
Dude, that's super interesting. I think that like for me, like is that a barrier, right? Is it because of the fact that like the U.S. like residents couldn't get in? I don't know what their holder like spread is across.
It definitely is.
I definitely think that's a barrier. I mean, I had so many people on like Twitter last night. Like I saw like, hey, what am I supposed to do? I mean, even though as easy as it was, right? Like if like at the end of the day, thank God, Q, that you showed us the way. But like yeah, I think that definitely has an effect on it. And I don't know, maybe it's not so much a detriment, right? Like also like just 10%, maybe there's not so much of a dump either, right? Like after the first 24 hours, I don't know. It's all speculation. It's all the first time I'm getting into it. So please don't listen to me. Like,
yeah, well, there's a range of different buying and selling pressures, and so it'll be interesting to see which ones have the most, impact, right? I think, what we're hoping for, what we're praying for, is that there's some big announcements regarding ApeCoin utility
that's what I was about to say.
that help balance it out or
Do you
drive
think we
more
get an
demand.
announcement before like unlock, or at least like within like the week? I mean, I would imagine, dude, we don't have much time left in the freaking year. You know what I mean?
So
This
here's
the last.
the thing.
This is the last tweet from Bored Ape. Yeah, Club.
Which this Christmas. I mean, shit. Christmas started, as far as like most are concerned, in October this year. So, fuck, they gave us a wide window to play with there.
Which is par for the course for them, to be honest.
Yeah, I have to say though, as far as Yuga's execution so far, they've seemed to have a lot of things planned out for like these strategically timed announcements. So I at least would be kind of surprised, frankly, if there wasn't at least like one or two announcements before end of year in terms of like ApeCoin partnerships or utility, but it's all speculation. We don't know.
I would have bet money on them coming out with an announcement as staking was going live or the day before. I really would have. I mean, they're on their own timeline. I just expected something to be put out. And we still have kind of an opportunity in the next 48 hours-ish. But if we go a week, 2 weeks, again, it's super short-term thinking, but if we go 2 weeks without any announcement, then we're just like literally like getting supply on the market without any type of like buyer side interest because it's coming to the other side and things like that.
Yeah.
Your dog disagrees strongly.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Nah. So
here's the numbers that we got. So this increased a lot overnight. We have 22% essentially across most of the pools of the total amount of ApeCoin that can be staked. That's the numbers that we're seeing right now. Is there's a 20% participation rate, which I don't want to get into like anything crazy, but that's kind of how participation looks in a lot of DAOs. That's how participation looks like in a lot of voter numbers and ratios. So maybe that's just the standard numbers of people that are active and want to do things. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's the old Pareto principle, the old 80-20 rule right there.
It is, playing out in real time. Quantum variance making a good point. What about codas? That would be potentially something, although again, that's like probably on the higher side. I don't know what the coda floor is right now for a other deed with a coda on it. I think it's in the double digits for sure. So
I hope.
Yeah. You have a
for
coda?
the people, no, but for the people who did, I have a homie who like hit me up and was like, I just bought a coda. I hope it was a good move. And I was like, awesome. And I was like 22 ETH floor.
Oof.
So,
Yeah, that's definitely not standing there as it goes today. Marty McFly saying, I'm only eyeing fuzzy squiggles to complete the intro.
I'm eyeing my squiggled out jersey. That's the only thing I got eyes for. Where the hell's my jersey?
It's funny you say that, Ronan, because that was going to be a point that I brought up as we were talking about some utilities added.
Shut the heck up.
To
next week,
WAGMI United. This is the old tweet. This is the old tweet. So you better get on it. No, this is an old tweet.
Oh shit! What?
This
what
was
do we got to do to get our jerseys?
This was on the 8th, which was 4 days ago.
This week.
Real quick, if you want to pull it up, or after this, I found the floor on the codas.
Yeah, we're not talking codas anymore. We're talking about our fucking WAGMI United jerseys that we've been wanting for the last 3 weeks here. Last 3 months, I'm sorry. Anyways, we got turn on notifications. You don't want to miss anything. The exact date and time will be announced early next week. It is now early next week. So, again, waiting for those Chromie Squiggle jerseys from WAGMI United. We got the announcement finally. All right, Giff, we're going into you.
There you go. That's it. Just under 10 ETH floor.
Oh, that's the coda floor. Can you scroll down a little bit?
Fuck. Sorry, bro.
Okay, gotcha. All right, so about 10 ETH for a coda right now. That could potentially, I add that to the list. definitely.
We got we got to figure out like what the heck like all that means, man. I feel like the next thing that like needs to happen is like some real clarity on like the other side and like what the other deeds, like how they play into it, what are the resources, like what the fuck is like the point of having the different aspects that they've got, you know what I mean? So yeah.
The other utility that you could be related to when it comes to other deeds, and I was talking with Mike Finch about this, my dead switch guy, as we call him, is the island, the main island, like the Yacht Club Island land right now, because other deeds are in the tank, of course, right now. Potentially buying up that main island in the other side could be potentially lucrative, whatever they end up doing with that island, which I fucking hate to talk about, but I think that might be a good one. Quantum Variant saying there are fewer quotas than MAYC. Marty McFly saying sell your WAGMI and buy back in for tax loss harvesting. We should have an episode. We should have a tax loss episode. Just saying.
All that stuff is anyway.
Any last thoughts here on ape staking, guys, in the chat as well? Marty McFly is bringing up, I think, a really good topic. What is possible utility? Honest question. I don't see any without the game, which he's referring to the other side there. Possible utilities for Bored Ape. I mean, now we're getting into like deep waters here, but what do you guys think?
I mean, you can speculate all types of crap, right? Like you can speculate like they work out some type of deals with like some physical merchants or, you know, I mean, they've already done some of that, right? Like just they can continue to like roll out stuff like that. Like, you know, I think you can buy, what is it? A tag heuer watch, right? Like with ApeCoin, like if you want, you can like, so I think like more just integration of like, where can you spend ape? Where is it integrated? Like how, you know, I don't know. Again, tokens are new for me, but I think that like this is exactly why I'm super interested in it, because like I'm super like dialed in and I want to know like what comes next and how's it affect the price of this token and whatever, right?
So you're thinking like merchandise, essentially, like physical products?
Probably like more into like their other deeds too, right? Like again, who knows? Like I'm just thinking of like what could they do, right? Like could they work out more deals like that?
So they've already shown the kind of roadmap and their ability to launch high-end retail brand partnerships with, you mentioned Tag, Gucci is the other one. So you could see them obviously having more of those coming. To me, the only other thing that I can think of that would be like sort of obvious or big, have some kind of big impact would be specifically out like a big other side announcement demo, you know, more info and showing how ApeCoin works in the ecosystem, in the market, you know, within other side. Because it's like that to me is so much of the utility is if you've got, you know, one of the most innovative, powerful metaverses, the virtual world that is beating all the other virtual worlds. And then the currency in that world is the ApeCoin. And you start to see how all of that comes together and works. That to me could be really powerful.
Yeah, I completely agree with that sentiment. The other point I'll make is probably ApeCoin DAO. Right, I'm blown away by what I see in the Nouns DAO ecosystem with the treasury that they have and how they spend it. It's not as sexy as a Tag Heuer or a Snoop Dogg or a big brand that comes into ApeCoin and says, "Hey, we're offering hoodies that you can buy," or God forbid, we don't need any other hoodies, but like shoes that you could buy. What will happen and where I see the utility is if ApeCoin DAO can continue in some form or fashion, maybe via their marketplace, get some revenue flowing in, where they can have a certain treasury and they're funding different ApeCoin projects via that community. It's not as sexy. Again, it's something that's going to happen slowly. It's having an ApeCoin brewery. It's having a ape project that they're out in LA or wherever that is, where they have an actual physical restaurant that's Ape. Like these little things add up, and that's where I think they're going to see some utility from the community driven projects via the DAO.
I agree. It's just harder to see how they do that with like physical locations and products as much, unless they do it through partners. Again, like if ApeCoin was to partner with an existing physical, franchise that already had distribution, like it doesn't have to be fine watches or clothing or fashion. To your point, it could be like high end, food. It could be high end, whatever, fill in any service you want. To me, that makes more sense than setting up their own. I think as far as ApeCoin DAO, they could, though, create digital storefronts or digital services much easier that scale. And that's interesting for sure. Also, who is it? Don R over here. Shout out Don R, by the way. Don R is a badass. The key to Ape utility is that every startup will come to them because of the advantages of working with them and access to their audience. Lots to come. That's what Don R says. Good point.
Well, and then here's the other piece that has made Bored Apes so successful is that they've made their holders money to the point where they're almost fanatics about whatever Bored Ape partnership that is launched. I spent, now that ApeCoin staking is live, spent way too much money on that ape merch that dropped because it was just an ape. Like I look back at that, I'm like, I would have rather used that for staking now. But like we're so fanatical about the shit that they drop because they've provided value.
And look at us now, Q. Look at us now. We're feeling good.
This is worth like the opportunity cost of this jersey is sky high.
Of dollars.
Hey, look,
here.
compared to the price that it was worth, it feels good, right?
I guess. Yeah, that's true. You spend it at the top.
Remember when Ape was like, I don't know, $20?
Yeah, I do remember that. Thanks, Ronin.
A whole lot.
Appreciate it. Dead Polaroid is saying, well, we will see apes in Walmart. I don't know if you guys saw this story, but this goes along with the IP discussion, right? Like where they're like allowing distributors in Walmart the ability to do that. Do you guys like apes in Walmart? I'm not like I understand it gets the brand out there and like all that stuff. With apes in Walmart, I don't know.
I mean, yeah, because like apes can show up damn near anywhere, right? Because like it's the owner that is like, so just like we've seen, like, you can go buy like a t-shirt with an ape on it at what is it? The mall. It's one of those mall stores. I can't think of it. Like Hot Topic. It's like one of those, but I can't remember the name exactly. But like they've got like they've got that. There's another store that's got apes. I think it was Old Navy, right? That did like the ape like t-shirt or something.
Why doesn't this happen more? Explain this to me, because I'm very like I have rudimentary knowledge of like IP rights as it's related to like me having a Bored Ape and then going to Hot Topic and saying you can use my ape and then getting a cut, and I'm just basically representing the Bored Ape brand. Why doesn't that happen more?
Well, they got to be interested in it. Like you got to be the one to go out there and broker those deals. I mean, I don't know, like why haven't you? Like for me, it's like, I don't know, like I just haven't had the time to like sit and go and find somebody who wants to like use my specific ape for something, that I'm interested in too. Like, I don't know, like, some people are out there brokering deals for like their ape to be on, like I saw this morning, Bored biscuits or some shit, right? Like they'll be on a biscuit freaking, wrapper. And then you've got, Bored fucking, I don't know, blueberry yum like weed. And so it's like, where's your head at? What are you thinking? And then also, like, do you want to make the move now? For me, like, I keep looking at my ape and I'm like, I really kind of feel like if I'm gonna like use that IP, I want it to be a character. Like, I don't want to just throw the ape on like some random thing. Like when I put like my ape out there for like public consumption, if I ever do, like I feel like I want it to be a bigger thing versus just like, oh, let me cash a check for like $5,000 because I can do that real quick. I think like when the ape IP begins to grow and like when it really permeates like the masses, right? Like that's when I'll decide to use my damn ape as like leverage for like an IP deal or something. But just you teach their own. Love that. Marty McFly saying ape charcuterie boards. That's utility. I wish I never bought the super plastics. That was thousands of dollars. Dude. Yeah, the super plastics. But you know what? I definitely had a little self control. However, I just got mine in, and holy shit, dude, the quality is top notch.
Is it in the box?
It's in the box, man. I
Can
took
you
it
go
out
get
for
it?
like it's like, dude, but it's super nice. Like I took it out just for a sec because I wanted to like, I'll show it to you real quick. But like even, and this was the most like exclusive one, I think, where you had to like have an ape, I think, to get it. I didn't get one of the mutant ones that like glows in the dark, or like the regular one that just came in like the regular, like this was like the regular,
Yeah.
right? But this dude, he like the colors are freaking vibrant, like he's got like weight to him. The shoes are literally like this like gold plating that like has like a super dope like quality.
Damn.
Yeah, so they did a good job. And this is like, to me, it's like, okay, if you're gonna use your ape for like an IP deal, like this is the way. Like I wouldn't want my ape to have any other treatment but like top quality, like top notch, like partnership like that, right? Like
Well, so that's an interesting point about like the whole Walmart situation, right? It's like
do I want to
we're stuck we're stuck between this idea of it being a high end brand and only being like in Gucci stores and shit like that versus it being accessible and basically open IP that can go anywhere and it being in Old Navy and Walmart. And I think it's going to end up being kind of a mix of both. Like to your point, Ronan, I think there will be enough people who really invest in high quality executions or brand IP, like they'll create really amazing high end shit. But I think there's also going to be the retail everybody low end shit too. Walmart is the biggest retailer in the world, like still bigger than Amazon by revenue. So it's like, what does that do to the brand image? Does that make it a lower end brand, or does the distribution and exposure actually still help and then funnel you up to the higher end experiences? I don't know. That's really interesting. I do think that when I go out wearing my Bored Ape merch, still nobody knows what it is outside of NFT conferences. You know what I mean? Like I don't get people coming up or being like, "Yo, is that Bored Apes?" Like maybe once or twice I've had it happen, but by and large, like I wear Bored Ape merch to the gym or like out and about, and like nobody cares, nobody knows what it is. So
yeah, I think that it comes with time, right? Like it's like just like Supreme. Nobody knew who the fuck Supreme was until like Supreme got to be Supreme. To answer a couple questions though, real quick. No, Sarah. So that's like the one that I think I don't know if that was the Bored Ape that Yuga let them use, or if they own that ape themselves. But I think like Super Plastic owns an ape, so they were able to do that. And then I think that one might have been owned by Yuga. So you can't get your own. That would be really cool if you could. And then Don R, actually, startup idea, agents for Bored Ape owners to find them opportunities. I actually am signed to like a little agency. It's like a buddy of mine started an agency, and it's called Dior, DYOR. And
that's sick.
That's their purpose, is like they know like who my ape is. I've told them like what type of deals and IP like partnerships I would be interested in, and if anything comes across like their table, then they'll let me know. And like they go out there and will broker like deals for you to use your IP. And this is not necessarily just apes either. It's like if you had like an ape, if you had any of like the blue chips, they're willing to like, I think, kind of talk to you and take you on as a client depending. So it's definitely a good idea. And I think that if we get back into a bull, they'd probably have a little bit more work. But yeah, I think it's a good opportunity. It's cool to see like how creative people can get with like taking that. This is my experience in the real world, right? Like the guy who started it, like he's really tied into the Hollywood side of things, and he lives in LA, and he's done his previous job. He worked with a lot of different studios and stuff. So he knows people who, you know what I mean, are out there like and have these opportunities. So yeah, but
it's a fascinating debate or a topic, I guess, because you have the ability for these holders of the NFTs to actually represent Bored Ape Yacht Club or something like that to these large brands. I'm just surprised it's not happening more. But again, there has to be interest. The bubble needs to kind of, and I said bubble, but the hype cycle needs to kind of come back. The bubble doesn't need to be popped because then brands aren't interested in doing that.
I think it did. Like I think that's like the beauty of like when you kind of work in Web3, right? Like it's like, it popped and like now everybody's like, oh, this is whatever. And now like people who are trying to build and trying to like really like solidify themselves in the space, like are doing that, right? They can take that opportunity to do so. And I think that's a good opportunity. But I'm with Marty though. I'm curious, like, do you wash your merch gift by like just wearing it into the shower?
So actually, it's funny you ask. I don't shower. I don't have to shower.
Yeah.
My body naturally excretes, suds. Basically, it's own soapy, fluids that just keeps me clean all the time. And by wearing it, it's actually being cleaned right now, which is it's fascinating. Yeah, biologically, it's an enigma that's being studied, right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Prodigy saying that's fucking dope. Ronin. Dead Polaroid saying so. We will most likely see CCO like this in Walmart. Moonbirds, goblins.
I think so. I think you'll see that.
Sarah Script is saying Walmart HQ is in Arkansas. Just saying. And Nick Illuvium is in the house. Illuvium, let's go. Listen, we gotta cover the space, and we do have to cover another.
Are you gonna
Jacob? We're sorry.
I know it's a private beta or whatever, but are you able to stream it? Like, can you or no?
So Stash will be streaming it for sure.
Stash is streaming it.
I need to talk with Kieran Warwick. I've been doing some other things.
Yeah.
I definitely want to get involved. Illuvium is one of the first steps for the Web3 space, having streamable games.
And it's the open world aspect of it, right? It's not the
TFT.
The TFT.
Yeah, I'll when we hit that topic, I'll bring up the video. There's an example of the gameplay.
We've been talking about ape staking for like an hour, bro.
We've been getting into some other topics here. Last point I'll make: this is 10KTF, right? This is the situation that you see. So this portal has been getting larger and larger, and probably leads to some type of installment or. Again, the acquisition by Yuga Labs makes it so that there's probably some tie-in with the other side here. We see a lot of portal imagery in what other side has released for their trailers and pieces like that. So I'm really excited for that. And to Marty McFly's point, that is probably the largest utility that we'll be expecting here in the short term is having a game. Again, it's the promise of what Web3 gaming is about. I don't want to step up on my pedestal, but that's why people who believe in Web3 gaming believe it so heavily, because people, if you make a interactive and fun game to play, will spend X amount of dollars when they get involved with it. If they make that dollar ApeCoin instead, then you have your utility in mass that we haven't seen yet, other than maybe like Axie Infinity, but we knew that was kind of had some Ponzi aspects to it. But go ahead, Gif.
Oh, I was just agreeing with everything that you said right there. It's you gotta have a good game. The business model of like digital, DLC skins is proven. The economics are insane for what gaming companies are making and how much money people will actually spend in these virtual worlds if the incentive is right, if the game is sticky enough, if there's people in there to play with. So it's going to be crazy. And yeah, just to respond to Marty and to Prodigy, there is, speculation around a correlation between the amount of cow milk I consume and my natural cleaning, fluids that I excrete. And I do wake up absolutely every morning and piss greatness. So thank you, Prodigy. Thank you, Prodigy, for recognizing real Prodigy. Appreciate you.
All right, while Ronin is gone, and he did want to pull up, I believe, the artifact drop. What was overshadowed in the artifact debauchery and just botched launch there was the fact that the actual shoes look dope. And there's like a lot of technology around those shoes that looks really cool. It looked like a really cool physical product launch. Or digiphysical, cool. As you say. But go ahead.
It's phygital, but the only thing, like, they look cool. The only thing that I have doubts about is is the little wiry connection things, because those look like they can break or decay really easily. Do you know what I'm talking about? It's like the little wiry strings, right, that pull it in, like underneath
The self-tying
sort of
aspect, you meant?
Yeah, it's like those are the only things that I'm just like, that looks a little flimsy, or like something that could break or wear really easily. And then it's like when that breaks, it's kind of like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I know, I could see that. I could honestly see that, because I wouldn't suggest wearing these to like hike. Like, these are going to be like you're wearing it out. Don't wear it out for like physical activity, even though they probably are hyping it up as like a foot tracker. You know what I mean? Like, you could, an activity tracker and things like that. I wouldn't do that with those. Yeah, I would
It's
not.
definitely form over function, right? It's
100%.
not very practical. It's a collector's item.
I will pull that back up when we are getting Ronin back. He just had to go answer the door really quick, I'm sure, or just had to figure. Man, I didn't have a good joke for that.
What time are we going till? Q? Are we keeping it short today? Or
We're keeping it good. We this is content, baby. All right, so this is Illuvium open world gameplay. This is the overworld, is what they're calling the open world there in that game. So you see, obviously, the ability to have a third-person shot with a character here. What you're essentially doing in Illuvium is playing Pokemon. At the end of the day, you're kind of open world, trying to go capture these alluvials, and you battle the alluvials with the alluvials you already have in order to capture more. And then battle them in certain arena concepts, like, and let me get to it, and then battle those alluvials in these type of arenas. Sometimes for, straight up ETH, sometimes for Illuvium rewards in different tournaments. There's also land gameplay that ties into this, which is like the DeFi aspect. So a lot of systems at work here to make this go, but really all we're looking at right now and today is this overworld release aspect that we'll be watching, like on Crypto Stash. I'm sure Kagian, Bryson, all of these Web3 gamers that exist today will probably be streaming this today, so that we can kind of get a look at what other than this kind of quick trailer, what we're looking at for open world gameplay in Illuvium.
It looks pretty clean, and it does look, kind of like the battle aspects. I love Pokemon. I grew up on Pokemon. I'll forever love Pokemon. And if you can recreate sort of that similar, little monster pet collecting and battling in a cool 3D environment that also has, legit ownership and tokenomics attached to it, and like actual good rewards. This is one of the things with Gods Unchained. Like, I played Gods Unchained pretty early on and actually thought the game was pretty fun. It was pretty sticky. But in terms of like actually earning rewards, or like what the incentive was, I didn't really get it. I think it was more like a pay to play type thing, where you could buy the expensive
pay to win,
the expensive characters, pay to win. Yeah, and so like I didn't really get like, okay, why am I grinding in Gods Unchained? I don't see necessarily where that's going to pay off. But the game was actually kind of fun.
Yeah.
So that's part of it to me. It's like, can you actually create something that not only is cool and fun, but also is rewarding to spend time in?
I will say here too, like Gods Unchained was using blockchain tech, but it was very much a trading card game. So there wasn't much like objectively aesthetic things going on. Like you could literally go into this.
The cards are cool. It was kind of like Magic the Gathering, though. It's like, they're cool. Like, a lot of cool characters. They're not as high quality as Magic the Gathering, but like,
yeah,
they're cool. I thought they were aesthetic-ish.
There's a cap on trading card games as it comes to like this using Unreal Engine 5, I'm assuming, and this is what they've been touting in the gaming space for a long time, is like the ability for any studio of such size to put out a good product. This looks fantastic. This immediately becomes probably the most good-looking game, quote unquote, in the Web3 space right now.
It feels like a giant leap forward from what we've seen.
Yes,
absolutely. Yeah, it looks really clean.
Ronan, any thoughts on the Illuvium gameplay you're seeing?
Yeah, I agree. I think it looks really good. I think, I'm one of those, I'm a skeptic still of like all like Web3 gaming until like I get an experience that like feels complete and good. So, it's cool to see that they've got this like overworld gameplay and you can jump in and play around in it a little bit. The auto battler part is the part that I was really excited for. So like when that like is available and popping, I think I'm going to look to see, like for me, I'm like, okay, well, how do I get in? How can I check out the game? You know what I mean? Like, how can I experience it and play? And then, just knowing what are the tokenomics, what are, what's purchasable, like, you got to be careful, right? Like we talk about a game where you're competing with other people.
Yeah. So auto battler would automate the whole gameplay, or just when you go into a battle, you can just automate the battle, so you don't spend as much time in the arena.
It's almost like an auto battle or chess is what Ronan's getting at, which is essentially you set the pieces, they battle for one round, and then you reset the pieces. So it's like a type of gameplay. It's a genre of gameplay, essentially. So it's not completely automated, but it's also not where you're like pretty much like go and you're just battling till the end. If that makes sense.
Yeah. The strategy in like an auto battler is like where like you're playing your characters on like the playing field, but also like which ones you're leveling up, because it has this whole card aspect where you collect 3 cards, you can level like a character, things like that. Super in depth. Like for me, I thought like when the first auto battler like really popped off, like auto chess or whatever, and I played it for the first time, I was like, this is a game type, like a genre that I think is going to blow up. And it's really surprising that it didn't get bigger than it is. But I think like, how they go about it is the biggest thing for me when it comes to Web3 games, right? I just think they've got a huge mountain of an issue when it comes to avoiding pay to win, and also keeping people interested when they implement tokenomics. I think tokenomics are so just front heavy. If you get in early, then it's good for you, and it only lasts a certain amount of time. And then once like it dries up. Nobody's going to give a shit about the game, and that's not good for like a game environment.
Coming full circle back to ApeCoin.
Sorry. We were having all the AI discussions last week, and I saw a Twitter thread that was related to gaming. Most of the stuff that we were talking about when the Chat AI and Chat GPT started to come out was, okay, what does this do to art? What does this do to professions? What does this do to all these different things? Well, you can't really have a play-to-earn ecosystem that exists where an AI can hop in there and do those things, because they're playing 24 hours a day. If they understand certain concepts, then your play to earn model is essentially moot, because then you could just spin up 100,000 AIs and just completely destroy whatever incentive model that you played out there. So AI, as it's related to play to earn, I think it forces the founders and the people that are making these games to look at the model and say, well, we can't do this because that it's gameable.
Mm-hmm.
It's an interesting point. You would think initially that wouldn't be hard to stop, but as the AI gets smarter and gets better, like you could see how it can literally do anything.
100%. Yeah.
Shout out to Cosmo. I don't know how to say this name. Cosmo Fuse for being the first comment in Twitch. Let's
go.
Yo, we got a Twitch viewer. What?
Out, bro.
Yo, when is that LinkedIn stream going live, bro?
You tell me. When do we push to LinkedIn and we bring all the boomers in here? That's we gotta flip that switch. Nick Illuvium, who of course by the merit of his name probably plays a lot of Illuvium or is in that ecosystem, says, well said, Overworld is the open world exploration game where the player's minds crafts battles and captures alluvials, 7 massive regions to explore. Sets of alluvials are available for a limited time, so something like a Dark Hollow Ramphir is extremely rare and limited. Ramfir's like, so they have, one of the coolest things about Pokemon was the way that they drew and created the characters, right? Like the art of those characters was really engaging, and the way that they played the storyline where you could get a Charmander or a Squirtle or all these different things. Initially, you connected with that. Ramfir is like the Charizard, I think, of that ecosystem. I could potentially bring it up. No pre-sale NFTs. Naturally, players can buy, sell, and trade NFTs once they own them. Easy and Crypto is in the house. We are having a speakeasy this week on Thursday with Easy and Crypto and Kay Mayfield. A great show here on the Web3 network. Nick Illuvium saying, "Yep, similar to Dota, Underlords, TFT. It's an auto chess."
Bro, I've been loving the clips, the animated clips that Jacob's been putting together from Speakeasy. If y'all haven't checked that out, you got to sub to our channel. Check out what Speakeasy is doing with some of the audio from Twitter Spaces. We should play one or two of those, maybe today, maybe tomorrow. But they're actually, I
can set it up tomorrow.
They're actually really funny. The Louisiana one I was watching last night.
Yeah, some of them are not fit for a young audience here. Well, some of them have a mature.
What the fuck are you talking about? How is it different from our normal audience already, bro? Like we're not on LinkedIn yet. We're not on LinkedIn yet. All right.
That's fair.
But seriously, if y'all haven't liked this video and subscribed, you're not gonna make it. I'm sorry to break it to you. You're not gonna make it if you haven't liked and subscribed yet. We're all gonna make it except for you if you haven't liked and subscribed.
Tell them. Give takes an extremely combative approach to the CTA here. All right, the last thing I'll say about Illuvium, I was interviewing Kieran Warwick back in the day, at least probably a calendar year from this recording. One of the coolest things that he brought me into was talking about how Pokemon, it was an extremely crazy experience when you would like catch or like see out in the wild like this Pokemon that you were wanting to get. He was talking about the ability to add NFTs into that experience where now you're able to actually own that character. So you come upon like the rarest alluvial out there, and then maybe it's 100 ETH worth. Maybe it was like the rare. It's the Mew of it. It was just wild.
If they can act the Mew, you mean Mewtwo?
No, Mew, the little guy.
Mew. Oh, okay. Well,
Mew, then you got Mewtwo. But anyways, we don't need to get into
there was a Mew and Mewtwo. We were both right and both wrong at the same time. No, that's what I was saying, is that if they can actually recreate that Pokemon, effects or, mechanism with real ownership and tokenomics attached to it, like shit. I feel like that's what so many people are trying to do. I just don't think anybody, like, that's kind of what Axie Infinity is trying to do too, right?
Well, I think because
I just don't know that.
I think the problem is because they blend, like they're trying to blend two things that to me still are oil and water, right? Like, which is like the financial like side of trying to upkeep an ecosystem, and then gaming, right? So again, I don't know, Nick, if he's on the team or if he's just like a huge fan, but like my first thing that I think of is, well, my hype meter just went down when he said that they're going to sell sets of Illuviums, right? Because like, okay, what's cool about a Mew or Mewtwo is like you find one in the fucking wild, whatever, right? What's not cool is that when they sell them once a month for $100, right? Now, like, now you're like getting into that weird, like, is it pay to win? Like, like, so I don't know. It's just like, it's weird. But then you have the physical card game of Pokemon, which is kind of like you're paying for the cards you want and to play and whatever, right? So I don't know.
Couldn't they do both though? Couldn't they do both by essentially establishing a set supply? So basically say, hey, there's only ever going to be 555 Mews or whatever alluvial, whatever. There's only ever going to be 555. We are putting 400 of them out in the wild. We're going to sell the other 155 in the marketplace over, whatever time period. But that like if you're buying in or you land on one of these, or you're buying and trading on secondary, the supply. It's not an open edition, right?
See, like, that's where like it gets fuzzy, because a gamer is going to tell you, well, that's fucked if only 555 people play and you've got, let's say, a game like League of Legends that's got 50 million people playing.
But this
then
is
a
where
collector's going to
balancing
be like,
comes in.
right? And but it's like, okay, so what's gated? Is it the character? Because I think that's an issue. Or is it the special version of the character, which I think is different?
Here's the other dilemma, right? Like when you're developing a game, you want to be able to not have someone 5 years down the line feel like they're missing out. So essentially, if you're selling these things, then the dilemma becomes, okay, we're going to introduce additional supply. Well, the current holders hate that. So it's like you have to balance those things as you're developing the game.
And that's, I think, like one of the biggest like pitfalls. Let's round this back to like the NFTs, right? Like where it's like Top Shot, right? Like is a really good example. I think the biggest issue when you look at Top Shot is that when the influx of people came to Top Shot and they went from, I think we talked about this, from like 10,000 like active players to 40,000, they actually changed their supply and demand. Right, their rares went from only 50, and I don't know the numbers exactly, but they went from something like, oh well, you used to get 50 legendaries, right? Now they've got 125 legendaries, right? So now like you're messing up your own fucking ecosystem by changing the game, right? So that's where I think to Q's point, you have to be very specific, and then you have to stick to your shit. And like the when it comes to collecting, it's an ebb and a flow. Right? Like there's always, it doesn't matter what it is. If you're a Pokemon collector, if you're an NFT collector, right? Like there's ebbs and there's flows. Like if you're really into NFTs and flipping NFTs, you know that Thursday night is when volume picks up. Sunday night, you better be out of your positions because that's like when the button gets reset. If you're a Pokemon collector, you know every 2 years is when they do these legendary blah, blah, blah drops that then makes the last 4 years cards worth a damn, right? Like, so it's always like this, like, and the problem is you can't adjust for that, because when it's down, if you've increased your supply to god awful what they did with Top Shot, and their amount of people taking part in the ecosystem is down like it is, now you've got a system that just doesn't fucking work. Now, if they never touch those numbers, if they never mess with how many legendaries equal to legendary, then while the shit's down like it is right now, you still have a healthy ecosystem, because you didn't adjust your numbers to go up and down, right?
We're bringing up the Pokemon example a bunch. I'm sure we could talk to a Pokemon collector now and see what they think about the additional supply that they add each time they release this new Pokemon Silver, Blue. Like there were initially 150 Pokemon, and those were, again, it's setting kind of a set supply based on that. Although I don't think they set any supply limits on the cards. I would have to look at the details there. Essentially, they've added more Pokemon every single year. I wonder how those initial collectors probably feel. It feels like the ecosystem is vibrant and there's still collectors of all these things. So maybe there is a good way to do it.
I think that's where you get into like expansion versus like, just more of the original supply, right? Like when you look at like, we're on Gen 9 now for Pokemon. So like they're adding new generations, and that doesn't really necessarily affect the previous. But look, Nick did correct us. So they're not selling the Illuviums. Those are going to be able to be bought, sold, and traded. However, there's a limited supply of set one. Illuvials can only be captured / minted by playing the overworld version of the game. That makes total sense. See, like that's like what I was hoping to hear. And that to me is like a good like step towards where it should probably be. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. We're getting out of the Illuvium discussion and closing out the episode here shortly, guys. If you have any last questions or comments, throw them out there. We will. Nick, we appreciate you stopping by and schooling us here on Illuvium today as well. Had a good convo. We will be back again tomorrow after the GM Web3 morning show. But again, subscribe if you haven't yet. We do these Monday through Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard. We have great creators like Ronin the Collector, like Gift
like Mumbot.
Like Mumbot, who might come on Wednesday.
Coming on Wednesday.
Really?
Show. It's her birthday.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, we're gonna be hosting Mumbot, and if you don't know Mumbot,
I got into a bid war for one of her pieces, and I eventually got outbid, but that was fun. I like those little auctions, man. Those shits are fun. Hell yeah, that'd be cool.
So we will be having Mumbot on Wednesday. We have Biggie Poppins on tomorrow as well. If you are interested in coming on, Nick, Why don't you come on, man? Like we were having the release here for Illuvium this week. Why don't you come on the network? We could highlight a lot of different Illuvium release features and things like this. Would love to have you here. If you want to reach out to us, you can on our Twitter profiles, which are our kind of usernames here and names here that you see. Last thought, Ronin, that I want to get to. While you were away, we did play the CryptoKicks link that you did share. Let's leave this as the last topic. What are your initial thoughts on this this piece here?
As somebody who wants to see the NFT space do better, I really don't want to like touch this. As somebody who loves fucking sneakers and you know, everybody's got it. Look, I don't care who you are. Everybody's got a brand that they just really like love. And I love Nike. I've always loved Nike stuff. This gets me super kind of excited. I mean, the more I dig into it, the more I'm kind of like, I don't know, like the lacing engine, right? Like that apparently like is not new tech. Like they've already like released shoes that have auto lacing and stuff like that. This is just kind of a repackage. But you got the fucking connecting to Bluetooth. It's a cool piece of tech. So as like a nerd, as a geek, as a sneakerhead, somebody who appreciates sneakers, like I kind of want to grab a pair. But I think just by like just for my own mental health, I said I'm not going to buy like an actual freaking pre-sale. If I get into the public, then cool. But if not, no worries.
Yo, are non-US users able to buy these?
Okay, yes, you can buy them, but you basically what you're going to do is you're going to forge. I can't remember what it's called. You have, look at that thread. You forge basically like a holding item. Like you're going to forge the NFT. That NFT then is basically like it's like your pre-sale ticket to own one. And you just have to make sure that you have your address you have to have a US address in your profile on the Artifact website by like May something. Double check the date. It's like May 10th, May 12th, something like that. Yeah, so you'll have to have that NFT plus your address. If you have those two things on May, whatever it is, it says, yeah, a hubbed NFT, that's what they're calling it. Then you are 14th. So you have to have it by May 14th. May 14th apparently is the day. Then hopefully they're shipping them out.
Okay, I did see that it said US only though. They still
it has to ship to a US address. So we talked about this last week. This is where I'm like, they didn't really do much. Like basically all they did was say like, we're basically just giving you the time between now and when we're ready to ship them to figure out your own solution to get these shipped to you. And there's lots of services. Like if you need help, feel free to shoot a DM, man, I'll help you out. Like I live in the US, so I can have them shipped to myself. If you need me to, you know, there's brokering services. You can get a homie in the States to give you an address and ship them to you. If you want the kicks, then you can get the kicks. They're just basically saying we give you the time.
All right, I'm going to pull up one last story. Jacob, it was a short episode, of course. It had every time. It's a short episode. We're doing nowadays. Here we go. We got the Nike.swoosh event. What do we got? Web 2.5.
I made it, y'all.
You made it.
Oh, this is huge. We made it to Web 2.5. I have my official .swoosh card.
I gotta figure that out.
.swoosh. I went to the LA.swoosh event. I believe it was Friday night. It was cool.
Out of 10.
Good food. You know, met a few cool people. I would give it like
out of 10.
A 6 out of 10.
6 out of 10.
6.5. I mean, look, they did the whole panel where they brought up some people from their team and they said all the pretty words about community and interoperability, and they answered some questions. And I give them a lot of credit for doing these different, community events and, again, providing good food and a good, cool place for people to get together and try and make cool experiences. So, you know what? 6.5 out of 10 at least. If I was being generous, maybe I'd give them a 7 because, it was a cool spot. But I do get the sense from the way that they were talking that it's going to still be very much what you would expect from a Web 2 company, which is, they're basically going to control their own walled garden and ecosystem for safety purposes. They're not really going to make it that interoperable or give you a lot of actual ownership. And by and large, what it's going to be doing is just, it's going to be like a way to try and make you feel like you're getting some additional perks or VIP status. Maybe you'll get into an event. Maybe you'll get, early access. But by and large, it's going to be a coupon code, like the artifact drop. By and large, it's going to be a new way to buy their stuff, right? And so, like, I don't know that I really expect, from the way that I heard them talking, that they're going to be really applying actual Web3 ideals or ethoses or creating a lot of new values. It remains to be seen. It does feel very much, though, like this is what to expect from big brands and what Web 2.5 is. And you know what, again, on the plus side, it is a way for a lot more people to get introduced into the space, into the benefits of, NFT access and club membership. And so I'm not poo-pooing it entirely. Like I see the benefit, and I'm happy that they seem to be taking their idea of what Web3 is very seriously, that they understand the risks and the safety. So there's a lot of good. I think that this is going to be a prime example of what Web 2.5 is and how big brands enter the space. And it's not going to be fully decentralized. It's not going to be open source. It's not going to be, any
free airdrops. I can get my free airdrops gift.
Well, a coupon code. Yeah, sure. You'll get an airdrop that'll be a coupon code. Right. And so that's kind of what I see it as.
Gotcha. All right, folks, we are going to shut down the episode here now. Apparently, Restream, which to answer a question there in chat is what program we're using, they added Christmas music. So we're going to go out with some Christmas music in the background here. Hopefully, we can get that going. Ronin, do you have any last thoughts? Hopefully, we're going to see you on Wednesday, correct?
Yep.
My man, I hate to say this, but I guess go Bulldogs. I'm not.
Yeah,
baby. You're going to take my Auburn card away from me, but go Bulldogs this next weekend, man. Really excited. Any last thoughts, Ronin, before we head out of here? And then GIF, you can take us out.
Nope, man. I hope everybody has an excellent week. I'll see you Wednesday.
Heck yeah. I mean, look, World Cup, big games. Let's go Argentina. Like and subscribe. And it's going to be a big week this week. That's it.
I want to throw this out. Who do we? So you have Argentina, Ronin. Do you have Argentina?
Yeah,
Argentina. We'll do a trifecta there. All right. We'll see you guys tomorrow on NFT Live on the GM Web3 Morning Show. Follow Web3 with 3 3s there on Twitter, and we will see you at the GM Web3 Morning Show as well. Otherwise, our vibe, our tribe. See y'all tomorrow.